Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone. By now you've seen the little bumpers around. If you're on Discord, you saw a little thing I posted in the channel announcements. That's right. This is the 666th video on this channel. 666. I thought it was beautifully ironic. Me being a Christian and everything and being pretty firm in that and all, doing a special for a 666th channel video. I think it's a funny, ironic thing. But that being said, so as you can see by the title of this video, we are reacting to The Thing. This is a body horror movie from the 80s, which is actually a remake of a movie from the 50s, which in and of itself is an adaptation of a book. Or I think it's actually just a story. I don't know if it's a full book. I think it was published in some kind of magazine or something. Either way. So yeah, it's a science fiction movie that I have maybe seen once, well over a decade ago. Like, I would have seen it when I was, like, a teenager. For note, I am 27 currently. So, I would say it would have had to be when I was 14 or 15. And here's the thing, I've always been into horror, so it's not like that would really scare me. The only time I was ever really, like, freaked out by seeing a horror movie, like, outside of, like, just the normal, oh, this movie's actually pretty freaky. The only time I was ever, like, legitimately, like, oh, frack, is when I was a kid. I don't remember the exact year it came out. I could check that, actually, really quickly. But it was for The Mummy, the Brendan Fraser Mummy movie, 1999. So at that time, I would have been, like, 7 years old. Yeah. I was either 7 or 8 because it was out on DVD. My family was watching it at my grandmother's house. They were all watching it together, and I was supposed to be in the other room playing, but I kind of snuck out and started watching it, and it freaked me the hell out. But again, I was a kid then. That was before I really started getting into horror as a genre. Ignore the dog. Piper, shut up. So when I was like 14 or 15, when I was more into it at that point, I probably had seen it. In fact, I think I did, but I'm not even 100% sure if I did. Now, I know I've seen a couple clips, maybe just one, because I know one in particular I can think of, and it's the part where they're trying to use the defibrillator on the guy, and his stomach opens up into this gaping mouth with fangs and eats the guy's arms off and stuff. I've seen that clip. But I don't remember much of anything else about the movie. And I don't even know for sure if I have seen it. I'm going to consider this a blind reaction because I know pretty much nothing. And even if I did see it back then, I won't, like, remember anything besides, again, that one clip. So you may be asking what brought this on. Why am I choosing to react to this? Well, as you know, every month I go to this tabletop gaming night at my friend's house. This month, just this past weekend, well, I had a really interesting experience there because there's this guy there who I don't think has been there before, but he brought a game based on the movie, specifically the 80s version of the movie. And it was actually a really fun game. Basically, we had to go through different quadrants of the building. We had to explore the rooms, we had to take out the things, and accomplish other goals to move to the different quadrants, and then eventually take the helicopter out. And we each played, like, a different character from the movie. It was randomized. I ended up being this guy with this big old beard who, I guess, took care of dogs. We just kind of made a joke about him, because he had that big old beard and the hat and everything, we called him Duck Dynasty. But basically, we all started off as human, except one person was infected, but we couldn't tell each other what we were. And so we had to go out, we had to accomplish these missions, and it's like, okay, if you're human, you're obviously going to want the missions to succeed. If you're infected, you want them to fail. But since we were not telling each other who we are, we're just trying to figure out who each other is and who's the infected. After we move on to a different quadrant, though, we take these blood tests, at which point someone else could end up being infected. So, and at the end of the game, we did have 3 people infected. At one point, I became infected, and now, of course, I started trying to sabotage their missions. Eventually, I did become, one specific person did start suspecting me. So, in response to that, I started making sure missions succeeded. There was a fire in one room, so while the group went to a different room, I went to that room to put out the fire, and stuff like that. Stuff that you wouldn't think someone who's infected would do, because you're helping. So, I successfully threw that person off of my tail. And by the end, we did end up winning. The infected ended up winning. And partially because I did trick them enough and they turned their attention to someone else who was actually human. So yeah, it was a really fun game. I had a good time, and it really made me thinking about this. It's like, yeah, again, if I had seen this, it's been well over a decade, and I don't remember anything except that one scene. So it's like, I thought, why not? I noticed that the video count was getting close to 666, and I thought that would be just a fun, random thing to do. My initial thought was like, oh, I'm just going to watch this on my own at some point, but like a day or two passed, and I was like, I'm never going to end up being able to get to this. I'm not able to get to a lot of movies I've wanted to see other than this. So I was thinking about like how I could incorporate it into the channel, and then that's when I saw it's like I was getting close to the 666th video, and it's like, oh, well, maybe I could do sort of like this this like Halloween like special with working in the idea of 666. And so that's when I started. I made the little bumper thing you've seen before in the redirects for videos before this, leading up to this. I put up a little thing on the channel announcements in the Discord server, and I was just having fun with it. So, yeah, I was building up to this, and I'm excited to see what this movie has in store. Again, I'm counting this as a blind reaction because I remember nothing about it, and I'm probably not going to, because honestly, I've seen movies that I had only seen once before, like long time ago like that, and I remembered nothing. And it's like, it was like brand new for me again, because again, I'd only seen it once a long fucking time ago. One good example of that is just last year I watched the Tom and Jerry movie again, and I hadn't seen that for a long fucking time. And it was like watching it all new again. And there were certain things I remembered, but the difference there is that I had seen the Tom and Jerry movie quite a few times. I used to watch it all the time when I was younger because I had it on tape. So, yeah, that's a little different. For something that's just I'd only seen once before, nothing would really have stuck out in my mind. Again, except that one scene that I did see. It's just like that one iconic scene in the movie, just like with Alien. The iconic scene is the alien, the xenomorph baby chest bursting out of John Hurt. It's like that one iconic scene. So it's like, yeah. But yeah, I can't wait to check this out. And I hope that you're excited to check this out with me. So, when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black, then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts, and will contain spoilers to the episode. Or the movie. I'm used to saying episode. Spoilers to the movie. That being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, so our 666th video on this channel, and we saw The Thing, and it was good. It wasn't the best horror movie I've seen, or just piece of media, I guess, in general, but it was good. I enjoyed it. I thought it had some good horror. The body horror was on point. Like, seriously, I've seen a bit of body horror in my years, and that was up there, and possibly even the best. It was just really well done. The effects were great. Oh, that dog scene, that messed me up. I am not okay with that. The ending was, I think, the very beginning and the very end were the weakest parts. The very beginning, because it was really slow and kind of confusing at first. It kind of just threw you into something really suddenly with Norwegian chasing down the dog. Or the thing having assimilated the dog, but still. And then the end with it kind of left so open-ended. Like, what are we supposed... Did MacReady and Child survive? Were they rescued? Did they get out of there in any way? I mean, we know the helicopter, they can't get out that way. Because that was taken apart and shit. But it's like... It's interesting. It's interesting to think about, because it's so open-ended. But yeah, I really like this. I thought the acting was great. I did not notice Childs was Keith David. He was so, I mean, just because he was so young back then. And that got me to thinking. I actually want to show you something real quick if I can bring it up. It got me to thinking about, like, how actors do change a lot, like, from early movies to comparing to, like, current day. And so it's like, I wanted to kind of look that up, and I looked up to see what the cast of this movie specifically looked like then and now. So I want to kind of go over that real quick, just for fun. So first off, we have Kurt Russell, who is MacReady. I'm going to move my face over here, by the way. Wrong way. We have Kurt Russell, who is MacReady, our kind of main character. As you can see, that's what he looked like in the movie compared to what he looks like, at least when this article was made, which I'm not entirely sure when this came out. Let me see if I can find that real quick. 2013. Okay, so this is 6 years old still, but, I mean, it's still more recent by a long shot. So, yeah, here you have Kurt Russell and MacReady. Give me a second here. I'm actually going to put this on the sidebar, so it's going to change how this looks real quick. Sorry about that. Hold on. I'm going to have to redo this. In fact, hold on. Let's just do it that way. Yeah, that'll work. There. Here we are. So yeah, Kurt Russell was MacReady. Trying to get this set. Because I want to be able to see it on the screen, so I make sure I center everything right. Going down, though, we have Wilford Brimley. By the way, I know that name, and yeah, I recognize him in the more recent pick. I would not have known who he was from the name alone. More accurately, I didn't realize it when it was showing in the credits. I don't actually know what Wilford Brimley's known for. I just know the name. He just kind of like with Kurt Russell. I don't know what he's actually been in. I just kind of know the name. So yeah, Keith David was Childs. I would never have guessed that. I mean, look how different he looks nowadays. Like, he looks very different, very noticeably different. So it's like, I would not have guessed that. And I couldn't tell by the voice either. Donald Moffat was Gary. He doesn't look much different. So far, he's the closest to how he looked in the movie. He's just older. But otherwise, he looks very much like the same guy. We had Richard Masur as Clark. So his big thing is, yeah, he definitely looks a lot older. Obviously, his beard is great and shit. But you can still see it. You can still see it in the face. David Clennon was Palmer. Oh, jeez, what just happened there? Shit. I don't know why it scrolled over like that. So yeah, he definitely is aged as well, very much. That one's also another one that's harder to see. Like, that one's not as obvious either. Okay, why did it... Is this the only ones it mentions? Yeah, this is the only ones it mentions. It doesn't show all of the characters, apparently. Oh, well. But yeah, I just think that's interesting to see how they've changed throughout time. Oh, shit. Getting the camera back. So yeah, this was really good, though. I also want to mention that I liked how the big aspect of the horror and everything was the mistrust everyone had in each other. The fact that no one could trust another person. The fact that everyone was a suspect of being infected. And really, the only way to tell initially was the blood test, but that ended up getting messed up. But MacReady found another way. MacReady did find another way, and it proved effective. It proved very effective. So yeah, I mean, that ended up working. But then we had other stuff, and yeah, it just kept going from there. The acting was good. I had no issues with any of the actors. I had no issues with the soundtrack. I thought the soundtrack worked exceedingly well. For the time that this came out, the just general visuals and quality of the picture and direction and everything was great. Honestly, yeah, this was a great even horror movie. And yeah, I definitely didn't remember almost anything about this. There was only that one scene, the defibrillator scene is the only thing I really knew going into this, because I have seen that scene plenty of times in the past. I didn't remember which characters exactly were involved with it, but I had seen the scene before, and when the instant I saw that coming up, it's like, yeah, okay, I know this scene. It was just insane. It was a really good film, and the dogs, dude, the dogs. Like, you could tell that really affected me. That really bothered me when that happened. Just hearing the dogs whine and in fear and everything, it's like, oh, that's not okay. That's not okay. And when you saw Clark run to the kennel when he heard that the rest of the dogs had been killed, you see how much he actually cares about the dogs and see how messed up about it he is. That's not okay. This was really good, though. I like, legitimately, I had fun with this. I think this was a good reaction for our 666th video on the channel. I really had fun. I thought this was good, and I'm glad I got to do this. I'm glad I got to do it as a reaction, a special for the channel. And I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Tell me your thoughts on the movie down in the comments below. What did you think of the visual effects? What did you think of the acting? What did you think of the dogs? Tell me your thoughts on all of that and more in the comments below, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.
And though you've come through many obstacles,